JP, why don't you take us away?
So sadly, we have 4 teams joining the 3 teams that were already there in the graveyard. Please welcome to the graveyard the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Saints. And I'll start with the Giants and the Saints. Unfortunately, with the loss of Cam Scatabo, the Cinderella run is sadly over. This team is not worth watching anymore. And so the Giants are joining the graveyard. If Cam Scatabo was still here, I would keep them up there and out of the graveyard. But they're dead right before Halloween. Perfect timing. The Saints, now starting Tyler Shuck and a 1-7 record. It's over. Rattler got punked this weekend on his pick 6. Shuck's interception was not on him and has, again, nearly identical stats to Spencer Rattler, which continues to be scary. But the Saints are dead. They're in the graveyard with their one and only win being over the New York Giants. And now we have 2 teams, the Raiders and the Cardinals, who were on bye last week and were on graveyard watch last week. And you may think, for both of these teams, what did they do to be put in the graveyard post-bye week? For the Raiders, they're done for. Think of Geno Smith this year. What do you think of? Just one word.
Pick. Interceptions.
Well said. Pick, interception. I would have taken both of those answers. 7 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Here are his next games. The Jaguars, who lead the league in turnovers. The Broncos, who's one of the best defenses in the league. Cowboys have been opportunistic. Think of Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs picking off at pick 6s there. The Browns, one of the best defenses in the league. The Chargers can be really good defense and had 3 picks of Geno Smith. The Broncos, again. The Eagles. The Texans, who are historically great defensively. The Giants, who have been great defensively. And the Chiefs, who, of course, destroyed Geno just 2 weeks ago. Geno may throw 30-plus if they keep starting him, which they would have to start Kenny Pickett if they didn't.
So they're going to keep starting
Is
him.
he actually... Wait, how many does he have so far?
10 right now.
And he's played 7 games?
Yes, so he's not on pace for 30,
It's
but
like
he definitely
24,
could.
26.
He definitely could.
I hope he does,
given
honestly.
the teams that they're playing.
Would that be the first time we've had 30 interceptions since JMO?
I think so.
Crazy.
We deserve another one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go. See
it
if
would
I
be
can
poetic.
Fact check that.
The
Continue.
Cardinals are also a team that were on bye, but they're in the graveyard. And sadly, they again have lost now 6 in a row. 1-score games. They lost to the bye week this week. In case you didn't know, for whatever reason, they cut Michael Carter.
I saw that.
Just 3 weeks after he said he was the starter and was the starter, had a great game against the Tennessee Titans. And then, in that game, Emari DeMercado fumbles the ball across the end zone, if you don't recall.
Yep.
Bam Knight comes on. He gets a ton of the snaps the week prior to the bye week. But we cut Michael Carter. How do you keep Emari DeMercado on the roster? That's a 1-score loss for me. And the Cardinals have now lost 6 in a row, 1-score games. Their schedule is also not easy going forward. The Cardinals are dead. They're in the graveyard, even if Kyler Murray returns. And that'll go to the teams left off, which we have now 4 teams joining the teams left off. The Carolina Panthers. For me, there's no better way to prove that you're for real 4-3 football team than to take on one of the best teams in the league who's been struggling, who's lost 2 in a row, and people are saying is weak and vulnerable. You get them at home. Carolina's 3-0 at home, and you lose by 31 points. Still, only 1 game this season, a Panther has thrown for over 200 yards. Would you guys like to guess the spread next week for Panthers going to the Packers?
Packers minus 9.5.
Packers minus 7.5.
It's minus 12.5.
Wow.
I
Which
almost
is why
went
they're off
11.5.
of the tiers. Unfortunately, I kind of agree.
Is that the biggest spread to date?
It's not the biggest spread to date.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the Saints spread closed at 13.5.
Was that Bills Saints?
Bills Saints. There's also a bigger spread this weekend, which
Wow.
involves the New Orleans Saints going to the Rams. Tyler Shuck is a 13.5-point dog. More on that Thursday, potentially, even though they're banned from the best bets. I may take the Rams minus 13.5 is what I'm saying.
Yeah, we never said you can't bet against your team. You just can't bet on your team.
Correct. Live on air. Browns. They had just jumped back up into the tiers, and now they're back down. They beat the Dolphins 2 weeks ago, and then they have a depressing performance against the Patriots. I'll say this stat again because it's diabolical. Myles Garrett becomes the first player ever to lose a game by more than 3 points in which he had 5 sacks. Cleveland didn't just lose by 3 points. They lost by 19. They are off the tiers, or the pyramid, I should say. The Bengals, thanks to their loss, won. Best Bets is back. It is officially renamed Best Bets.
Let's go.
I, of course,
One good week, and all of a sudden we're back. That's crazy.
Gotta ride the high.
I, of course, told you guys that I would take Jets money line. And what do you know? The Jets get the first win of their season, complete the circle of parity, and Jets money line wins, meaning this is once again we're back to Best Bets. I, of course, told you guys the Bengals were going to beat the Steelers. So very much thanks to the Cincinnati Bengals, it is once again becoming a Best Bet segment. I am once again becoming trusted. I would not take a ton of my NFL bets, though, especially the games that we pick, because I am 7-17 on those this year. But I am 30-30 on the college football, so maybe take those games that we preview and pick. But Best Bets, we're going to make a run. We went 3-2 this weekend. If not
Going
for the
9-0 next weekend.
Steelers collapse, I already have 4 games there, and I plan on putting plenty more. So we may have like 7 games this week to pick
Perfect.
from. But the Bengals, thank you for bringing back Best Bets. Of course, I'll again read this record. On the circle of parity, it's tied for the fastest this has ever been completed after Week 8 with 1999. In 2023, it's been tracked only back to 1999 at this point. Joe Flacco in this game targeted Jamar Chase 19 times. Also, they lost before this game even started and after the Best Bet segment with the graphic that they posted about the game for this weekend. And it was too graphic for me to send to Sanders and show on air, but I will go ahead and hand you guys the phone so you guys can see what the graphic
I
is.
saw
I have
that.
seen this,
I
yeah.
saw that.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go just look at the Cincinnati Bengals page. How can you post this? This is just diabolical, man.
Is it? Do you want to walk people through what it is?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I have too much
themselves.
respect for the city of New York. The Vikings have also fallen off of the pyramid. Wentz was never the problem, clearly, because of his injury problems. Thankfully, grace is being extended his way, which I'm very happy to see that as a Carson Wentz guy. JJ has his chance now, but the outlook is not great. The division is brutal with how good these teams are in the division, and they have 5 divisional games left. They're 3-4. That means they might be 3-9, and with the rest of their games still left to play. So the Vikings are off the pyramid, and this means we no longer have a Christmas tree. I really almost left the Vikings on to have a Christmas tree, but now we just have 6 tiers on this pyramid, and this pyramid will get smaller.
Wait, isn't that the Vikings right there? Did I not? Oh, hold on. I may not have here. You keep going. I'm gonna.
We gotta figure out
You're
which
good, you're
team
good, you're
is
good, you're
missing.
Good. Nope, you're good. I just gotta.
Did I?
Nope, you are good. I made a mistake, and I just gotta.
You are correct. You did make a mistake.
But
Strike.
it's a super easy fix. I just come over here, and now this is this week's tier.
Correct.
6.
Okay.
There you go.
Tier 6, the pyramid, like I said, is going to get smaller as we go on because more and more teams will be eliminated, more and more teams will be put in the graveyard, and we'll have less teams that are eligible to be picked upon because we'll get to our postseason very soon. So the Steelers are on Tier 6 and sitting there at the bottom. Back-to-back weeks of awful defensive performances on primetime, and the offense is doing plenty. Also, the offense is clearly limited, like we just talked about. Maybe they need to trade for a receiver. Bears, I'll read this one again, like from our preview. 13-16, 9:06 left. Ball with the chance to go steal the game you honestly had a business being in, and Caleb throws yet another terrible pick. And that, unfortunately, has dropped Chicago down in a game that they should have won without Lamar Jackson on the field. The 49ers drop as well to the bottom of the pyramid, Tier 6. they were just shut down by the Texans defense. Go look at the box score. It does not look good. It looks like a murder was committed. If you go watch the game, it also looks like a murder was committed. They only score 15 points. The team is just so hurt. Like, it's a shame. Honestly, for 49ers fans, it's a shame that they're 5-3. Like, it's good on them for, like, competing and winning these games, but you almost wish that you were worse so you could have a better draft pick, because it just does not feel like there's a lot of hope going forward this season, and you need to be able to pick better players in this draft. If you could add one of those elite defensive players, if you got up there in the top 10, but at 5-3, I just don't think they're going to lose that many games to get down that far. Maybe they'll continue to fight for the postseason, but I wouldn't. I'd try to punt, or I guess give Brock Purdy the reins and see if he proves himself. The Ravens, technically moving up, but I didn't put them in green because they didn't move up because of them. They moved up because of other teams doing worse. And so maybe quietly the defense is back, like I read in that game reaction, but I'm not going to put them in green. They were on the bottom tier and just moved up because there was all of a sudden a spot open on this tier. It is not enough for them to be in green this week.
Sure.
Which is one of the only times I'll ever do that. But Ravens are on tier 6 now and not tier 7. The Falcons, I don't think we've talked about it yet. We talked about the fins up with Mike McDaniel, but again, this is the Falcons, like the Panthers game. What the hell game? They just had it against the Dolphins this weekend. In the most Falcons way possible, which you guys need to go look up the clip if you haven't. Tua threw a crossing route to Jalen Waddle that was nearly identical to the one he threw at Alabama to Jalen Waddle in the SEC championship game, which led the comeback for the Alabama Crimson Tide against Georgia. They were down 14 at the time of the second half. It's on the exact same place in the field. Like, it just looks eerily similar. The Falcons lost by 24 to the Miami Dolphins, who are in the graveyard. This is it's just so depressing. Has to be depressing for a Falcons fan. Hey, but at least you have your first round pick.
Psych.
They don't have their first round pick.
Money moves.
Yikes for the Falcons and Arthur Blank and that organization. But Falcons gonna Falcon. Commanders are gonna stay on tier 6 and stay on the pyramid, and they'll stay on pyramid until they start selling, I guess, like Jack hopefully wants.
Sure.
What a brutal watch, but that is watching your team play against Kansas City on primetime. There is no game where it's fun to watch that, where you have refs not even like trying to hide their bias. Terry McLaurin has an obvious touchdown. No, he was out of bounds, incomplete. We go back and review. It's not even close. What are we doing here? The roughing the passer at the end of the game, or the unnecessary roughness.
Yeah. Terrible
BS. Awful call. I hate it. The Zach Ertz spot, that was a first down. And only because we have a terrible spot, we have to then go to the virtual measurement, and he's short by 5 inches, which is a lot. And now, it's because of the bad spot, he's short. And we get to show, the virtual measurement. It's really cool because of this, but it was because of a terrible spot that it's short anyway. It just, I know you didn't watch much of the game, Sanders, but don't go back and watch it because it'll just piss you off.
He was short.
No.
But then how did the virtual
By
measure?
where they spotted him.
By where he was spotted, he was short. But when you show it in replay, he had the first down. There's no way he didn't.
Basically, where his knee goes down, that his knee is maybe 5 inches short of the first down, and then he's leaning forward with the ball in his arms.
Then how did the virtual measurement spot the ball 5 inches behind?
Because it's
where
off
they
of
set
where
it.
they spotted originally, and then Dan Quinn said, to Zach Ertz, we don't want to challenge that, is what it basically looked like. Because they didn't think it would get overturned.
That's a stupid usage for the whole virtual measuring then.
Sure.
It's unfortunately the right way. I
thought
hated
the virtual measurement was just so they could see where the ball was when his knee was down.
No, the virtual measurement is for where they put the ball. They don't have to bring out the chains.
It also took so long; they literally could have wheeled the chains back out there. It
That-
wouldn't have mattered.
So
Yeah,
the chains are still there, but they don't have to take out the chains, and then you have like the chain extending. You have the note card stuff.
Yeah, that's
They just
fire.
have-
How is that an
They
improvement?
know where the first down is, and they have a chip in the ball, so they know where the ball is.
That's so
It's kind of like
stupid.
games gone because I agree that the
thought-
thrill of the chain, like, is
I
there
thought
an
the
extra link?
virtual,
Yes.
the whole virtual thing was so that like, if a dude's in a pile and you see his knee hit the ground, you can know where the ball is at the time his knee hits the ground.
No, but that should be a thing.
That's way better.
I
Or like
wish
you
that
could
was a
say that
thing.
like if Zach Ertz is diving, you can literally frame by frame say, all right, his knee's on the ground. Let's see where the chip is. That's where the ball is.
Agreed.
That's a way better use than like let's get rid of like one of the most like electric, intense parts of a game
It
is them
was
trotting the chains out
solely
there.
for them to get rid of the chains.
I thought it. Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah,
That's
it's
so
pure
stupid.
stupidity. But the Commanders will stay on tier 6 because, like I said, just a brutal watch. Hopefully, Jaden returns next week.
He is rehab's going good. He's going to practice tomorrow. so.
Okay. Like we said last week, though, their schedule is rough going forward, so it doesn't mean that
Correct.
brighter days are ahead. They have the Seahawks and the Lions coming up, which you'll see as we go further up the pyramid. But to tier 5, Dallas stays where they are. For me, like if you're going to continue to talk about how bad their defense is, then Dak deserves the right to have one bad game against one of the best defenses in the league. So let's not crap on Dak Prescott. He's still a potential MVP candidate if he can get this team to the postseason. But I'm not going to react too much on the Cowboys. Just a tough spot, tough moment. They didn't answer, but they will have more chances going forward. And nothing on Dak. This defense is just terrible. Jaguars stay where they're at. Bye week, no changes. You have to win this Sunday, though. They play in Las Vegas against the Raiders. You can't lose that game off a bye. That would be terrible. The Chargers, they beat the Thursday Night Football curse that had been going on, where the underdog had been winning a ton of these games. However, they have guaranteed themselves to lose next weekend on the road in Nashville. Teams following a win on Thursday Night Football are 1-6 straight up this season. So looking bad for the Chargers. Does this mean you want to go to the game, Sanders?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll pass. I'll sit on my couch.
Cool.
Heard. Patriots move up, finally. Drake May has been outstanding this year, throwing for 250 yards per game, which is on pace for 4,250 passing yards, that's really, really good. 4,000 yards for a quarterback is an insane season, a very great season. 17 total touchdowns, just 3 interceptions, so he's not turning the ball over. He has a head-to-head win over Buffalo. They, of course, are a game ahead of Buffalo also. So it kind of feels like their division to lose right now, which is insane. Buffalo is still
definitely insane.
a favorite to win this division, but what we thought was one of the most owned division in the league in terms of Buffalo owning this division, like Kansas City, we thought Kansas City might have a fight with Denver and Los Angeles. We thought there'd be no fight in this division, and yet there is right now. And with a head-to-head victory in the next game in New England, their division to lose, point blank. Texans move up. Historic defense cooks once again, but offensively they got going. Stroud threw for 318 yards without Nico Collins, and the run game was actually good. Woody Marks and Nick Chubb both had 55-plus rushing yards each. If their offense continues to play like this, play like that, obviously, they're going to be better. But if they can just pull from that even a little bit, especially in a game without Nico Collins, and that defense continues to cook like it is, maybe a scary team going forward. But they have a really tough schedule, so they're going to fight just to be 9-8 this year, if I'm being honest. That'll get us to tier 4 of the pyramid. The Indianapolis Colts sit again on tier 4, and this may be deliberated again, especially after Sanders picked the Colts to win the Super Bowl earlier. They had the best record in the league. Jonathan Taylor is averaging 27 points, fantasy points per game, which would be second all-time for a running back in a season, only behind Christian McCaffrey. They lead the league in points per game and yards per game. Yet they're just 2-1 against current and last year playoff teams, that being the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Rams. They survived against the Broncos. The Broncos had beat them, but a flag helped them win that game, so they really could be 1-2. For me, they play at Arrowhead in 3 weeks. They will be off a bye, the Colts. They will be off a bye before they play Arrowhead. It could be the game for the 1 seed. I'm going to wait until then to move them past Kansas City because people are saying that Daniel Jones is just like magic. I don't think so. I think he's playing amazing. Nick Wright went as far as to have a magician on set while he talked about Daniel Jones just to make fun of him. I hate that because, like, why can't this story be like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield? They deserve that. But I have a really tough time moving them up over the teams above them, considering the way these 3 teams played this weekend, which we'll get into here in a second in Tier 3. But to continue Tier 4, the Rams run a bye. They host Tyler Shuck's first start. So they're going to be on a bye again this weekend. And then they'll get back on the road next week. I wouldn't even play Puka Nacua this week. I'd go ahead, unless you want him to go after milestones, I guess, which he could have a really big day against New Orleans. The Lions were also on a bye. I did drop them, though. I should have put them in red. My mistake. They're in red. Bye week. I dropped them because of what other teams did. Specifically, one, they host J.J. McCarthy, who hasn't played since September. So, again, a bye week for the Lions as well. Back-to-back bye weeks for the Rams and the Lions. And the Broncos, an impressive defensive performance against an unstoppable offense per me. The game plan against the 2 elite receivers was great. Pickens got his and CD got his. But the pass rush got to Dak. The offense scored all game against a bad defense. Can only be positives going forward for Denver. They got to keep winning. Because like I said, when we picked the playoff picture, they're a really tough place to play in the playoffs in Denver. And if they can have home field advantage, they could be very dangerous in the postseason. So keep winning, Denver. Tier 3. Again, I'm going to have... I didn't put the Chiefs in green. Stupid me. So many mistakes on this segment. We'll be better next week. Buffalo. I talked about it 2 weeks ago. James Cook needs more touches. He gets 19 touches. He goes for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. Just continue doing that, and Buffalo's going to be fine. The Ed Oliver injury is scary. I do, though, expect them to beat Kansas City this week because they always do. It's also in Buffalo. Packers, Jordan Love got going really well. Finally, an offensive ceiling game. And the Steelers had just 295 total yards, so the defense was still pretty good, even though they gave up a ton of scoring drives, less than 300 total yards given up. Kansas City moves into Tier 3 over moving the Indianapolis Colts. It was really tough, but I would pick the Chiefs to beat the Colts right now on a neutral field. The offense was unstoppable in the second half. Another 28-point performance. They, of course, cheat so much. They're not even trying to hide it from officials. But in the second half, these are their first 3 drives. All 3 drives went for touchdowns. 29 plays, 250 yards, 16 minutes and 35 seconds off the clock. You're dead. Nothing you can do about it. They are inevitable. They are Thanos. They are the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm moving them up to Tier 3 at this moment in the season and moving them up instead of the Indianapolis Colts. But we'll get to see that play out in 3 weeks. Tier 2 and Tier 1 are the exact same as they were last week. Saquon, he got back. Again, the media, they just, not the media. I guess it is the media. The analyst, the people that are supposed to know football, continue to just refuse to address the fact that the offensive line has been failing him all year, and that it's been Saquon, that it's been the amount of carries he had last year, the wear and tear, all of that. It's been the offensive line, and he finally found some gaps this week and had some big runs. Tush push has to be banned, though. And I'll read this stat again, though. Jalen Hurts joined 2 quarterbacks this century to have 20 touchdowns and 2 or less turnovers before November Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson. Pretty good company. The Bucks, ugly win over New Orleans. What a great time for a bye week, though. You get healthier. Like, I don't think they'll get healthy fully, obviously. But they need Bucky Irving back so they can run the ball. And then a big moments in 2 weeks when they go to New England. I wanted to move them down. But the Eagles and the Bucks, I want to move both of them down, to be honest. But I have too much faith in them, and they have proven themselves too well in big moments that I'm just not going to move either of these teams down for a long time, I'd feel like. That gets us to Seattle. They run by, so I can't move them down. And there was no convincing performance last week to do so. But if there's a team I move down pretty soon, it might be them, unfortunately, as good as they are. And that is it for this week's pyramid. 4 teams join the graveyard, 4 teams leave, and we have one less tier. Everything else is kind of staying the same.
Yeah.
Only 6 teams moved or dropped.
Yeah. I have my qualm, my issue. I like moving the Chiefs up. I think right now they've looked impressive through 2 weeks. But I think that argument for them also applies to the Colts. So I think I would rather have the Colts over the Bills. I think the Bills losing 2 in a row, and then were they on a bye week this week?
No, they destroyed Carolina.
Sorry, they destroyed Carolina. So a bye week.
They beat.
It was a bye
they beat an above 500 team on the road by 31 points.
This is a
That's
great way to
pretty
spin
good
it.
stuff.
Yeah, true. Carolina is not like other above 500 teams. Anyway, the Bills lost 2 in a row to the Patriots and to the
Atlanta
Falcons. That's, in my opinion, that's a tough stretch of losses. The Patriots at home, when the all of the edits about Haley Steinfeld saying that they are one of the Bills' 3 sons. Have you not seen that?
I have not seen that.
It's like
thankfully.
they say who's in the AFC East, and she goes the Buffalo Bills and the Bills' 3 sons, and it's like, and then it goes in like Josh Allen highlights.
I see.
So it's an edit. It's a pretty fire edit, but it's a lot less fire now that you just lost at home to the New England Patriots.
Well, Drake May's that guy. I just saw him in a video a couple hours ago rocking a Charizard costume.
Yeah.
So you don't really beat that.
Anyway,
And I said that they were going to potentially lose that game anyway, so that's my fault, not their fault.
the Bills lose the
Yeah,
Patriots.
I took the Patriots plus 9.5.
Yeah,
It's one of
but-
my best bets. So.
Anyway, that's one of my issues. Is I feel like the Colts are still below teams that they are playing better than right now. And that's not to say that if if it comes to the playoffs, I don't pick Josh Allen to lead them to a victory. But like right now, the Colts are playing better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I get
don't
that.
hate it.
I also don't hate it. I think my thing is like it was kind of an issue of mine last week. But based on what the Bills did this past week, they don't deserve to move down. So it's not like an issue of mine this week almost, if that makes sense. Because I kind of judge it pyramid to pyramid and what I think the movement should have been from last week to this week. And so I think it makes sense for the Colts not to have moved up based just on this last week and where they were on the last pyramid. I really think it's a perfect pyramid. I really can't come up with much at all. I think a lot of it is because there's not much movement, and we're getting to teams are becoming more and more set, and the pyramid is becoming smaller, and there's teams on a bye. So, there's just less movement to go around. Hate seeing my team on tier 6. It is what it is, I guess. At least my team's not on the graveyard, though. I think we could be there soon. Dang, bro. How do we end up here? It's okay. We're 4-0.
Yeah.
We're 4-0.
He's got his Wemby jersey back there, so he's good. Yeah, that's my only issue. So,
I'm about to...
I don't disagree, but I agree with Jack. I just don't think you can look at especially the 3 teams above them and see their performance this weekend and say the Colts should be above them after those 3 teams probably had 3 of their best performances of the season so far.
Yeah, it's just the Colts have had several performances like the Bills have had already.
It's just week to week, though.
It is just week to week. And I think that might also have been... Yeah, that's fair. It is week to week.